It's amazing. Do you think they could help me too?
Absolutely. Go to townsquarelocal.com to find out.
Go to townsquarelocal.com for a local customer analysis that will show you how many customers are searching for your services online. It's quick and easy. Get your business found online by visiting townsquarelocal.com today.
When you hear this,
they've got him again,
and this,
he scored,
and this,
oh boy, what a move by Embiid!
You think of us. We are sports. 97.3 ESPN, WENJ, WENJ HD, Millville, Atlantic City, a Town Square media station. This is Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app. Now, live from the Matt Black Kia Studios.
What a move!
Here's Josh Hennig.
It is the first football Friday of the NFL season, and we're back here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. I am Josh Hennig, hanging out with you. We will touch on last night's opening night game, the Lions' upset win over the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. Plus, coming up this hour, Maaddi joins us each week throughout the NFL season, the AP lead NFL reporter. We'll talk with him about the Eagles' opening game of the weekend, plus his thoughts on the NFL overall. We'll get into all that and more here in this Power Hour, known as Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. And, of course, my picks later this hour. And whatever's on your guys' mind this weekend, 609-403-0973. That is the text board. Whether you got some NFL thoughts, Phillies back in action versus the Marlins. Trey Turner returns from his paternity leave, birth of his second child. He will be in the lineup tonight for the Phils. So we will get to all that and more here on 97.3 ESPN. Yes, text board is 609-403-0973. Your DMs into the 97.3 ESPN mobile app powered by First Bank of Seattle. All right. First of all, I want to get you guys the latest news on the Eagles and the Patriots. And, we'll have a full breakdown of the injury reports and who is playing and not playing over at 97.3ESPN.com tonight and this weekend. But, just on the surface, the good news is everyone is good to go for the Eagles. Nobody is injured. What is interesting is the injuries are actually on the Patriots side. And there's a little more going on that we're not going to spend a whole hour breaking down the Patriots injury report. But there are a couple players of significance that we have to keep an eye on. Now, Jack Jones, the corner for the Patriots, he has been ruled out altogether. He was in line to be their number 2 cornerback. So without him, it's going to be interesting to see what the Patriots do defensively. And that's part of the reason why, earlier on the Sports Bash here on 97.3 ESPN, I said take the over on the Devontae Smith receiving yards, because with Jones basically not practicing the entire week, it is something that we got to keep an eye on, is that how the Patriots try to play the Eagles defensively. Belichick's a defensive genius. Look, this is not the same Patriots team the Eagles faced 5 years ago, but it's still a very good, coach-wise team. So the one guy to keep an eye on, no Jack Jones. We'll see what that means for the Patriots. The other guy to keep an eye on, there's no Riley Reef. Now, the reason why the Riley Reef thing is important is because, he is one of their offensive line starters. And without him, you could argue that this Patriots team is just not the same without him. So it'll be interesting to see, can this offensive line of the Patriots hold up against the Eagles? And the answer is I don't know. I don't know if the Patriots offensive line is good enough to handle the Eagles defense. And while, yes, I am picking the Eagles to win the game, I think that it's not going to be a blowout overall. I think this is still going to be a bit of a rock fight. I think this is still going to be a game in which that the Patriots are going to try to limit what the Eagles do. They're going to try to run the ball. They're going to try to play keep away from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. Now, how successful they will be at that, I'm not 100% sure, but they still have a couple offensive linemen that are good enough to do what they're talking about. Look, you still have Trent Brown at left tackle. You still have Dave Andrews at center. And you still have Cole Strange playing at guard. So it's not like the Patriots are a bad offensive line. They're just not a very good offensive line. Like, for example, you saw in the game last night that a team like the Chiefs that has a good, not great offensive line, what happens when you have a legitimate front seven coming after that quarterback? It was a huge part of that game. You could argue the Lions defense was actually the most impressive part of the game last night. Their defense looked way better than even I ever expected. So for me, I'm looking at this game this week and saying, look, I know the Patriots offensive line is not very good, but I also know that they have at least enough tools to run the ball, play keep away, put the Eagles in a position to be a little concerned, right? To be in a position where they're not going to be able to maybe do what they want to do as effectively as they would like. And I think that is where I'm looking at it. Because with Riley Reef on injured reserve, that is a huge blow to the Patriots offensive line. So that means that whether it's Josh Sweat, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, whatever the lineup is going to be, on down the down, these guys are going to have opportunities to go after a Patriots offensive line that's just not built as well. I think that's key number one for the game this Sunday. My first key for the Eagles-Patriots game is you got to look at what the Lions did last night on opening night in Kansas City. The Eagles can do the same thing defensively. They have the people to do it. Between Fletcher Cox, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, all on the interior, along with on the outside, Brandon Graham, Hassan Reddick, Josh Sweat, and even throw Nolan Smith into that conversation. He might get some reps in a NASCAR package here and there. And we know that Nakobe Dean at Georgia was a very good pass rusher. It was a very underrated aspect of his game. I think that those guys have a chance to really make an impact on this game. And the only chance the Patriots have is to run the ball and try to use that screen game to offset the Eagles' timing on the pass rush. So that's key number one in this game on Sunday when the Eagles take on the Patriots. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. here on 97.3 ESPN. Your home for the Eagles games here in South Jersey. Mel Reese, Mike Quick calling all the action. Here on your home for the Eagles, the NFL, Sixers and Flyers, college football as well here in South Jersey. That's number one key. Eagles defense has to get after an offensive line that is basically only playing with three legitimate NFL offensive starters. The other two guys, it's not great. Not great. Number two key for the Eagles and Patriots this Sunday. The Eagles offense cannot be lulled into any sense of we got this. If you're the Eagles, you cannot be the team that goes in and says, I know they're without one of their corners. I know that they're playing a little short-handed defensively, that they do not have the depth on defense that past Patriot teams do. Because just because they don't have the teams that won in years past doesn't mean that they're not going to be able to go out there and get this job done. Look, the Patriots defense, they still have dudes like Matthew Judon and Lawrence Guy and Dietrich Wise who have pass rushing abilities. They do still have guys like Jonathan Jones and remember him, Jalen Mills, Jabril Peppers. They have some good players in their secondary. And even with Jack Jones out for this game, it could be a possibility for someone like Marcus Jones or someone like Christian Gonzalez, the Patriots' first-round pick, for one of those guys to get in on the action defensively. Belichick, as I said, he has had all summer, all August to prepare for the Philadelphia Eagles offense. So I'm assuming Belichick is going to have something. And the matchup of Belichick versus Brian Johnson on the play calling, and then the players executing those play calls, is going to be a very interesting deal. What do the Patriots do to slow down or limit the Eagles' offense? Look, the Eagles' offense is arguably one of the 5 best in the entire NFL. And the Patriots don't have the defensive firepower to keep up with them for an entire game. But they do have the coach to be able to maybe cover up some of the issues for that game. So those are my 2 biggest keys for the game this Sunday, Eagles and Patriots. Coverage begins at 3 p.m. It's a pregame. Mel Reese, Mike Quick on the call after 4 p.m. right here on 97.3 ESPN. Before we get to the text board at 609-403-0973, full disclosure, not a great night on the picks last night. We only got 1 out of 3 right on the picks last night. We were very fortunate that Goff got over the 250.5, 251.5, depending on what book you were at. I saw one book actually 252.5, but he had 253 passing yards last night. Otherwise, that game I thought it was going to be a high scoring affair. I thought it was going to be a shootout. You got to give the Lions defense a ton of credit. And I did not factor in how underwhelming some of the Chiefs receivers are. Patrick Mahomes felt like Donovan McNabb circa like 2001 when he's throwing to Todd Pinkston and James Thrash and Freddie Mitchell and you later on Reggie Brown and all those guys. That's what last night's game felt like. Chad Lewis, LJ Smith. It's not that the Chiefs' offense is bad, but without Kelsey, there's a huge drop-off for Patrick Mahomes' receiving targets. And it became very obvious last night in the game that they did not have the offensive line continuity, I'll call it. The offensive lines played together long enough to handle what the Lions were doing defensively. And Mahomes was doing everything he could in his power, but between guys like Tony dropping the ball and Sky Moore that at one point ran the wrong route, it definitely affected them. And I think that is a huge part of the reason why they lost that game. And you got to give Jared Goff a lot of credit. Like, this guy is now 3rd all time in NFL history in most pass attempts without an incompletion. Jared Goff is now 3rd all time. He has 359 pass attempts without an incompletion. The 2 guys ahead of him are Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers. You could argue Jared Goff is playing at the best level of his entire NFL career, and you saw it play out last night. All right, before we get the break, Steve in Ventnor chimes in at 609-403-0973. Steve chimes in and says, I think the Patriots are going to run the ball, 35 times on Sunday. We should absolutely play a 5-man front with Dean and Cunningham behind them, Edmonds in the box all day to stop the Patriots run. They cannot beat us on the outside. They just don't have the personnel. I'm picking the Eagles 20-17. That's from Steve in Ventnor. Steve, it's a very good point because the Patriots are a team that leans into what they can do and tries to stay away from what they cannot do. And you're right. You might have to switch up that front a little bit. Now, I don't know if a legit 5-man front is the answer. Excuse me, because Stevenson has got, some really athletic, not athletic, but he has great little bursts in space. And I think that if you put too many people in on one side or another, Stevenson, the Patriots offensive line, could find some slots for it. You're right there. They're going to run the ball. They're going to slow the game down. I don't know if I like the 2017 score. I think that's kind of assuming the Patriots are going to cover the spread. I don't know if they will or not. I think the Eagles do win. I think it's more likely the Eagles cover the spread than don't in Sunday's game. We will get to Derek as well as Paul from Ocean City on the text board a little bit later in the hour. 609-403-0973. That is the text board. Coming up next, we'll talk with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press. NFL Week 1 is here. And Rob Maaddi will talk to us about it next on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on the first Football Friday of the 2023 NFL season.
College football, tomorrow on ESPN Radio.
One of the best things of college football. Every team's got their rivals.
It's the Cyhawk game in Ames, Iowa, as heated rivals go head-to-head when Iowa faces Iowa State.
20 to the 10 to the end zone. Touchdown.
Iowa at Iowa State. Coverage begins tomorrow at 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio.
It's College Football Saturday on 97.3 ESPN.
Naloxone saves lives. Visit stopoverdoses.nj.gov to see how anyone 14 or older can get it for free, anonymously, without a prescription from participating pharmacies. A message from the New Jersey Department of Human Services.
All right, team. Apps on the table by 7:30 sharp.
Jalen and his catering company have a lot on their plate.
Really particular.
He needs a bigger team to continue climbing up the food chain.
Throughout this event. Hey, Mitch, was that a contract for 200 or 250 people?
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Our hiring platform instantly connects you with quality candidates, and you can schedule and conduct virtual interviews right from the Indeed dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Any trade, any trade, any trade. Bring any trade to Matt Blatt Nissan because AJ the Trade Man is in need of more trades. Used car values have been all over the map, but AJ has one mission: give you the best trade value and get you into a new Matt Blatt Nissan with 0 down, 0 payments for 90 days, and 0% financing on every new Matt Blatt Nissan.
Oh yeah, it's on at Matt Blatt Nissan.
Even if you owe thousands more than it's worth, AJ the Trade Man wants your trade. Plus, with your job clearing $350 per week, you're practically approved with 0 down and 0 interest on every new Nissan in stock. For 36 months, all backed by Matt Blatt's 4-day love it or leave it return policy. Only at MattBlattNissan.com. On approved Tier 1 credit through DMAT, negative equity will be refinanced into new vehicle plus tax tag and $589 doc fee. Offers can't be combined. Call 877-289-6670 or go to MattBlattNissan.com for complete details. It's on at Matt Blatt Nissan on the Black Horse Pike in Egg Harbor Township.
Join Macy's and our nonprofit partners to help address the youth mental health crisis this school year. Now through September 14th, you can fund mental health services and resources when you donate online to the JED Foundation and the National Alliance on Mental Illness, or round up your Macy's store purchase up to 99 cents and donate the extra change. Give back today and learn more about our mission to create brighter futures for all at Macys.com/purpose.
At Bet365, we don't do ordinary. We believe that every sport should be epic. Every touchdown, every game, every point, every play. From the moments that are legendary to the ones that fly under the radar. See for yourself when you sign up today and you'll get $365 in bonus bets when you bet just $1. Whatever the sport, whatever the moment, it's never ordinary at Bet365. 21 plus only. Must be present in New Jersey. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call 1-800-GAMBLER. Terms and conditions apply.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car really needs a wash.
The $20 McGuire's bundle includes Gold Class Car Wash for a showroom shine.
Get in zone.
And what about my tires?
Just spray the included Hot Shine tire coating and you're all set.
Get in zone.
The inside is not great.
No problem. The quick interior detailer in the bundle can help with that too.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Hi, I'm Brighton Richards from Apex East Roofing. You know, the blonde-haired girl in the pink truck. Fall is a great time to get a new roof so you're ready for the winter season. Go to apexeastroofing.com to get a quote in 30 seconds. And with our price match guarantee, we'll match any quote of an equal roofing system and give you an Owens Corning Preferred 50-year warranty. Ask us about our financing options as well.
Get a price on your roof in 30 seconds at apexeastroofing.com.
When you switch to natural gas, you'll enjoy reliable and efficient comfort, plentiful hot water, precise cooking temperatures, faster clothes drying, and more savings. Plus, you can count on the South Jersey Gas account managers to walk you through the process, answer your questions, and put your mind at ease. Switch now to enjoy safe, reliable, affordable natural gas and smile big at the savings. Learn more at southjerseygas.com/lovemyhome or call us today at 218-217-0864.
Paid for by Wesley Financial Group.
Do you find yourself stuck in a timeshare? Get the real facts about the timeshare industry and your options for cancellation. Chuck McDowell, Wesley Financial Group, that reveals the secrets the timeshare industry doesn't want you to know, including the 5 ways to get rid of your timeshare. Call now and get this timeshare cancellation guide absolutely free.
Call 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333. 800-462-3333.
New Jersey might be small, but there's a lot of wow packed into this little state. Cork-popping wows, time to dine wows, Pine Barren wows. Find your wow at visitnj.org. New Jersey, little state, lot of wow.
You're listening to Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
All right, before we get back to text board, Jeff in Summers Point, Paul in Ocean City, also Derek, the Diamondbacks fan. We'll get to all of you guys in just a bit here on 97.3 ESPN. But before we get to that, as promised, Rob Maaddi covers the NFL for the Associated Press. He joins us each week throughout the NFL season. And because Monday was Labor Day and nobody was live here on 97.3 ESPN, Rob was kind enough to join us later in the week to talk about the NFL as we are entering officially week 1. Rob, it's good to have you on. No more talking about what ifs. We actually had football action last night. How you doing?
And it was a game, Josh, that lived up to the hype, right? Last night, the expectations and the Detroit Lions and going into the season and what everybody thought that they could be legitimate contenders. And they came into Arrowhead Stadium, were unfazed by the crowd, unfazed by the Chiefs raising that banner and pulled out a nice victory. I know that Travis Kelce wasn't out there. Chris Jones wasn't out there. And that kind of certainly hurt the Chiefs. But good win for the Lions. Nice way for the NFL to kick off the season. They always talk about close games, comeback victories. Last year, more so than any time ever in the history of the NFL, and they get another one to start off the 2023 campaign.
Rob, what does it say to you that Jared Goff now has the third longest streak of pass attempts without interception? Like, he's got 359 pass attempts, and the only 2 people ahead of him are some guy named Tom Brady, another guy named Aaron Rodgers. Like, that is really exclusive territory to be in for a guy in Jared Goff that people forget he was the first overall pick back in 2016.
Yeah, and it's very impressive, Josh, the way he's resurrected his career over there in Detroit, right? You got to remember, when he gets traded to the Lions in the Matthew Stafford deal, the Rams kind of had to overpay in draft picks just to get the Lions to take Jared Goff and take his contract off their hands. So they had to give up extra picks for that, and he was thought to be a stopgap quarterback. They're going to draft somebody, and all of a sudden he goes over there and he turns into a Pro Bowl quarterback, kind of recaptures some of the success he had in LA. But you also got to give tremendous credit to his offensive line, Josh. When you look at just watching that game last night, there were times where he just had all day in the pocket, and that certainly makes it a whole lot easier for any quarterback to feel comfortable, to find their open receivers, to go through their progressions, to hit their targets in stride, and to not throw interceptions. I don't want to take anything away from Jared Goff, but I want to certainly give credit to Penei Sewell and the rest of that offensive line for keeping him upright, keeping him comfortable, keeping him safe in the pocket to where he can have that kind of level of success that he's having right now.
Yeah, you could argue the Lions have, if not one of the top 3, at least one of the worst top 5 offensive line in the league. I mean, to me, it's basically them, the Eagles, and probably the 49ers are probably the 3 best O-lines in the NFL. And that's a huge credit, Rob. Before we get to anything else, that Lions organization used to be a laughingstock. Like, that used to be the organization of, like, you know, they're drafting all of these busts left and right, and they can't get anything right. And they've been building this team very Eagles style through the Lions, right? They're drafting offensive line, they're drafting defensive line, they're paying to bring in guys from the outside to play those positions. And you could argue that, listen, what is that saying? The best form of flattery is to, do what somebody else is doing or someone else doing what you're doing.
Right?
Yeah, imitation. That's right. So it's like, to me, the Lions are basically saying, hey, this is the formula to be successful. And I saw a team last night that kind of reminded me a little bit of the Eagles, Rob.
Yeah, and not to belabor, the imitation is the best form of flattery, but they are the gold standard. Remember, they wanted to be the gold standard. Well, for the gold standard, teams are following. They're going to follow what you do, your formula for success. It is a copycat league, and teams are going to do what they see other teams doing to have success. But hey, I think everybody realizes in the NFL, you build it up front. You build a strong offensive line. You build a strong defensive line. You protect your quarterback. You get after the other team's quarterback, and that's the quickest way to have success. And the Lions certainly have done that with Jared Goff. They've got some playmakers around him. I don't love their entire receiver core. Maybe Jameson Williams, when he comes back from suspension, will kind of strengthen that, deepen that unit. I do like, obviously, Amon-Ra St. Brown. Jahmyr Gibbs looks like he's the real deal. That was a nice 1-2 punch we saw last night with David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs for the Lions. Still excited to see the various ways that Ben Johnson plans to use Gibbs. I think the Lions are the real deal. I got them winning the NFC North. I don't think they're quite ready to win deep into the playoffs, but certainly for that fan base, for that organization, you win the division, that's a starting point.
By the way, 26.8 million people watched that Lions-Chiefs game. That is up 24% over last year's Bills-Rams opener. So just if anybody was wondering who were excited for football, they're here for football. Talking to Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press here on 97.3 ESPN at Rob Maaddi on Twitter is where you give him a follow. Rob, Eagles in New England this weekend, and I know this isn't the Patriots of old, but I just can't get around the idea that Belichick has had all offseason, I should say, all summer to prepare for this Eagles offense. And I got to think, I know the Patriots defense is on paper a great defense, but I got to think Belichick has got some sort of game plan for the Birds on Sunday.
Josh, we do have to give Bill Belichick his due and his respect and his credit for being a 6-time Super Bowl champion. But at some point, we do have to separate that from the fact that Bill Belichick is a losing head coach without number 12 under center. He's 80-90 without Tom Brady. I have not seen anything in the past 3 years since Tom Brady flew down south and went to Tampa and now has cast himself into retirement to indicate to me that Bill Belichick is that same head coach who can get his team ready, prepared, talented enough to win or upset the Eagles in week 1, to make any kind of noise in a very tough AFC East. I got them finishing in last place. I think this is going to be a game where the Eagles are going to win it and win it handily. I got a final score of 26-17, but I don't even think it's going to be that close. I think they might score a touchdown late to get it to 26-17, meaning the Patriots. Maybe a Zeke Elliott 1-yard plunge where hopefully he doesn't do anything stupid and celebrate because you're losing by 11 points late in the fourth quarter, that kind of game. I don't think Eagles fans have anything to be concerned about in this game other than the fact, stay healthy and don't hurt yourselves. Don't beat yourselves, because you can see how a game turns, right? Patrick Mahomes last night throws a perfect pass, hits Kadarius Toney in stride in his hands. It turns into 6 points for the other team, 7 points with the extra point. Like, that was the game changer. The Chiefs should have won that football game. Lions only scored 14 on offense, but Mahomes throws a pick. If something like that happens where Jalen Hurts makes a nice pass, it bounces in and out of Goddard's hands or someone else, and it goes for a pick six, if there's a blocked punt, that's one area where I will give Bill Belichick his credit, is the special teams. He's always had, led by Matthew Slater, he's always had outstanding special teams. I don't think there's anything to be concerned about with Mac Jones leading the offense to any kind of impressive drive after drive against the Eagles. The one area where they may look to attack, and they probably should look to attack, is running the ball up the middle, try to test what the Eagles' young defensive tackles, and of course Fletcher Cox, who isn't all that young, but Jalen Carter and Jordan Davis can do, and then maybe try and exploit the linebackers and the safeties with their tight ends, and if maybe Mac Jones in that intermediate short passing game. But other than that, I'm not concerned about their wide receivers. I think the Eagles' corners will shut them down. I think this game's going to be one where At one point earlier this week, I'm like, you're going to have an eye on the Eagles and an eye on the Phillies, but then realize the Eagles are at 4-something. Phillies are at 1. So by that time, the Phillies will be long over. So you'll have an eye on your fantasy team or the Red Zone channel and be like, Eagles got this one. They got this one in the bag.
I am curious to see what the Patriots offense looks like, because last year Mac Jones had Joe Judge and Matt Patricia in his ear, and now he's got a real OC in his ear in Bill O'Brien. And by the way, Matt Patricia now on the Eagles coaching staff, because that's not weird. But back to the Patriots, I am curious to see that Mac Jones, his first year, he did play well. He wasn't some bum his first year in the NFL, but it just is, I'm curious to see, does Mac Jones look more like the Mac Jones we expected with a real guy who coaches offense in his ear?
Yeah, and when you got Matt Patricia last year making the switch from the defensive side to the offensive side, along with Joe Judge, but kind of reminded me of what Andy Reid did that time with Juan Castillo, Josh. If you remember, he went from offensive line coach to defensive coordinator. And are they underplaying that? This is the Matt Patricia Bowl. He's a longtime friend of Bill Belichick, been in that organization for so many years, left, went to Detroit, came back. To me, Matt Patricia's knowledge of the Patriots is only going to be even more beneficial to an Eagles team that certainly overmatches and overpowers the Patriots. But yeah, to get back to your point on Mac Jones, in a way, this might be a make or break year for him, right? He has a nice, impressive rookie season, gets them to the playoffs, takes a little bit of a sophomore slump. You look at the coaching around him, and maybe you blame it a little bit. Certainly, that had an effect on him. Now you got Bill O'Brien, who's a bona fide offensive coordinator in the NFL, an offensive-minded guy. If he can't get the best out of Mac Jones, then maybe they look in a different direction in the draft and next year. Then again, he doesn't have a ton of weapons around him either. Juju Smith-Schuster, this isn't a team that's overloaded in weapons and playmakers to help him out. So I can't expect, if he has any kind of success, that may speak to that. You would look at that as problematic because the Eagles defense had to be that poor if Mac Jones has a big game. I can't see that happening.
We're talking with Rob Maaddi from the Associated Press here on Game Night on 97.3 ESPN. Josh Hennig hanging out with you on a Friday night. Rob, obviously 2 NFC East teams are playing on Sunday Night Football right after the Eagles that a lot of people are going to have their eyeballs on. Like you said, it's going to be a full day. Phillies at 1 for a lot of people in this area, Eagles at 4, and then Cowboys, Giants on the nightcap. And I am incredibly interested because for the Cowboys, what does the Mike McCarthy, Brian Schottenheimer offense look like? I want to know what that is. I want to see what Darren Waller looks like playing in the Giants offense. Does Daniel Jones take a step forward? Does Dak Prescott look more like the 2021 version of Dak? And by the way, Brian Daboll was a really good coach last year, and now he's in year 2. And let's not forget, a lot of times we find out who these coaches are in year 2 more than year 1.
Yeah, I agree. And I think he was slightly overrated because he was in New York last year. I thought Doug Peterson should have been the coach of the year, but that's that's from last year. Looking at this one, I certainly agree with you in that you look at the Dallas Cowboys with Dak under pressure, Mike McCarthy under pressure, Jerry Jones being 80 years old, knowing that he's running out of time himself. What is that offense going to look like? They gave Dak Prescott another playmaker in Brandon Cooks. They got Tony Pollard to balance the offensive attack with the run game. Is Mike McCarthy going to be a little bit more 55-50, 60-40? How's he going to call a game? What's it going to look like for him as a play caller? If he has any kind of issues, if he struggles in that department, will he pass that on at some point? So there's a lot of question marks there, and it's on the road. It's against the Giants. I think Darren Waller is going to be a big addition for Daniel Jones because he's that kind of safety valve guy. He's really a tight end in a wide receiver's body. He's a big-time playmaker. He can create some mismatches. But I think Micah Parsons is going to be a game wrecker. He's going to make life miserable on Daniel Jones. I've said it once. I've said it twice. I've said it a million times. He's not a $40 million quarterback, and I don't see him taking a step up this year. I see him taking a step back. So I got the Cowboys winning that game. I probably already said it on your show, if not others, but I got the Cowboys winning the NFC East and going to the Super Bowl, losing to the Bengals, but going at least to the Super Bowl. So that starts Sunday night in North Jersey against the Giants. I was actually going to do the back-to-back. I was like, hey, you know what? Sunday night, Giants, Cowboys, Monday night, Jets, Bills. But then I'm coming up for Eagles, Vikings on Thursday. So I decided to pass. I hate traveling that much.
Yes, and as we know from listening to you on the AP Football Podcast and on Faith on the Field, your history with air flight recently has not been pleasant, to say the least. So,
yeah. Josh, man, I had some long afternoons sitting in the airport. So if I can avoid it anyway, I'm going to try to. But it's football season. It's time to suck it up. Get on that plane, get to the football stadium. It's crazy because it's a privilege. I will never say I don't appreciate it. It's a privilege to be able to cover the NFL, to be there, to be in the stadium, talk to the players. But I really love watching games on TV. It's just a different feel, a different vibe. I find myself when I'm covering a game and in person, I'm always catching up, trying to see. I got the TV on the laptop. I'm looking up at the screen. I'm trying to follow it. What did I miss here? What didn't I see here? But whereas you're watching it at home, you're not missing anything. So there's a little bit there, but then you don't get to talk to the players in person. So that's that's the coolest part, I think, and the most important part, because you really get to pick their mind. And it's not the post-game interviews. It's in the locker room, those kind of conversations.
by the way, I disagree with you. I think the 49ers are going to the Super Bowl, not the Cowboys this year.
I got Dallas over San Fran in the NFC Championship game. I just didn't want to get, I love Brock Purdy. I like him as a person. He's a good dude. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't go, I wanted to put both of them in there. I wanted to put the Jets against the Cowboys, but I was like, I'm not going to do that. Let me go. It's Joe Burrow's time. He got $255 million. Of course, I made my pick before he got that contract, but I knew it was, Josh, we all knew it was coming to him, right?
By the way, Rob, I put this out on social media last night. It's the classic heel move. Let's announce this contract to say at the same time the Chiefs game is going on. Burrow's sitting somewhere being like, yeah, let's announce it right now.
I didn't even think of that. That's kind of like, remember when the Eagles would steal the Phillies Thunder, or the Phillies would steal the Eagles Thunder, and something would happen. Next thing you know, you got a big free agent signing. Hey, it's the first night. Well, what better time to release that, to put that out there than last night right around? I think it was in game as soon as the
it was in game.
Happened.
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
So how about that?
Rob, one more before I let you go, I want to ask you about, because one of the conversations we've been having a lot is about, you just mentioned the Jets. And I do think Rodgers is going to have a very good year. I don't think they'll win MVP necessarily, but I do think that the Jets situation is a very good team. What is a realistic expectation, though, Rob? Because the AFC is very, very deep. It's not like the NFC where it's basically 4 or 5 teams. You could argue the AFC, there could be 8 or 10 teams that could potentially win the conference.
Yeah, the 2 Easts are the toughest divisions in the NFL, and the AFC East is a monster, because I think the 3 teams are going to make it into the playoffs. And I look at the Jets. I got them coming out of that division, man. I got them winning that division. I'm a believer. I'm a believer in Aaron Rodgers. Today, I made my preseason awards picks. I got him winning the MVP, because if he goes to New York, if they win a division like I have them doing, that's completely on him being the difference maker for an organization that never gets to the playoffs, that always falls short. He's the missing piece. He's the missing link. Like Brady was in Tampa a few years ago, like Matthew Stafford was in LA 2 years ago. I think it's Aaron Rodgers in New York. I like that he's got some playmakers on the offense. Garrett Wilson, they bring in Dalvin Cook. Breece Hall's coming back. I like the defense. Quinnen Williams is a stud in the middle. He's an all-pro. Sauce Gardner's probably the best shutdown corner in the NFL going into year 2. So I like Robert Saleh as a head coach, and I think Nathaniel Hackett being reunited with Aaron Rodgers, you're going to see the duo that was dynamic in Green Bay together, and they didn't have deep playoff runs. They didn't have deep playoff success. So that was another reason why I was like, all right, I'll get them going to the AFC Championship, but I'm not going to put them in the Super Bowl, because we've seen Aaron in years past choke a little bit in those games.
Yeah, and I think Hard Knocks did them a disservice, making it a little bit ridiculous the way they presented, a lot of those guys. I think that people I think people walked away from Hard Knocks this year, Rob, thinking the Jets are overrated when it's actually the opposite. You know what I mean? It's like, I think that they kind of held it against the Jets because they didn't, like, for example, for those who didn't watch the final episode of Hard Knocks, they had almost none of like the cut down day scenes in the show this year. Whereas in years past, like the entire final episode was like, this is how Dan Campbell and the Lions handle cut down day. Whereas the Jets, it was the completely opposite attitude. And, you know, I just got to think, you know, there's a part of this Jets team that maybe just looked around the leagues like, we're coming for you. We don't care what you think.
Yeah, I haven't gotten through all of those episodes yet, so I didn't see that one. So I appreciate the spoiler alert there, but that's okay. I wonder how much, though, Josh, of that was the input from the Jets, because remember, they were not all that pleased about being on Hard Knocks. They wanted to have some input into what was shown and what wasn't. And it's tough on these guys who are getting cut to be put out there, their reactions like that. So I'm okay with that. I don't think it's cool to have these guys at their lowest moment in their professional career to be seen on TV, where everybody, and especially in this day and age, man, where you got trolls all day long doing, how's this guy who's crying and doing this and that. So I think that works out. But yeah, I think I agree with you. I've done a lot of interviews where people look at the Jets feeling like they're a little bit of an overrated team going into the season. But we're going to find out. They got a tough test Monday Night Football. If to be them, as Flair used to say, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Well, they want to win the AFC East Monday night. They got to face the Buffalo Bills, and we'll see how good they are right away.
Buffalo Bills without Von Miller, by the way, we should remind people as well. He's Rob Maaddi, at Rob Maaddi on Twitter, the AP Pro Football Podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. Also, the host of Faith on the Field, heard Saturdays and Sundays mornings right here on 97.3 ESPN. Rob, appreciate you jumping on today. We'll talk next week.
You got it, buddy. Take care. Have a great weekend.
Josh Hennig here on Game Night, 97.3 ESPN FM, 97.3 ESPN mobile app, powered by First Bank of Seattle. Coming up on the other side, I have a plethora of texts to get to. Steve from Cape Courthouse, Derek the Diamondbacks fan, Paul in Ocean City, plus my Football Friday picks. We got a lot to get to coming up next on 97.3 ESPN.
The 2023 Eagles season is here, and this is your radio home for Philadelphia Eagles football. It's week 1 as the Eagles head to New England this Sunday to take on the Patriots.
And then he's sacked! Brandon Graham!
Eagles radio network coverage begins at 3 p.m. Maryland might call all the action starting at 4:25. This is South Jersey's official home for Philadelphia Eagles football. 97.3 ESPN, South Jersey's Eagles station.
Our locally owned and operated small businesses are the heartbeat of our community, and the 97.3 ESPN South Jersey industry aces stand out as leaders in their fields, like Tomorrow's Wellness Center in Northfield. Men, let Tomorrow's Wellness Center help you rise to the occasion. Visit tomorrowswellnesscenter.com.
Okay, class, our first lesson is math. 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals...
One heck of a great deal.
The math is simple at Matt Blatt Kia. Put 0 down, pay 0 interest, and make 0 payments for 90 days on every new Kia in stock. Or get up to $8,000 off MSRP on every 2023 EV6 GT in stock. Stuck in a loan or lease? Matt Blatt Kia can get you roll leased, so you can drive your new Matt Blatt Kia with 0 down, 0 interest, and 0 payments for 90 days. And we finance your future, not your past. Even first-time buyers can drive with peace of mind with our exclusive 4-day love it or leave it return policy.
It's gotta be a Matt Blatt Kia.
With approved credits, not all will qualify. Go to mattblattkianj.com for complete details, or 888-505-6670. Price includes all costs to be paid by consumer, except for licensing, registration, and taxes through Cap 1. Excludes EVs. 36 months at $27.77 per thousand to Tier 1 customers. Matt Blatt Kia, 6211 Black Horse Pike, Egg Harbor Township, and now on Route 37 in Toms River.
Ask Sherwin-Williams during the Endless Summer Sale, September 1st through the 11th, and get 30% off paints and stains with prices starting at $31.14. That means 30% off our most popular color family, blue. Psychologists have found it to be soothing and relaxing, which makes it especially great for bedrooms and bathrooms. And of course, get 30% off all of our other colors. Shop the sale online or visit your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. Retail sales only. Some exclusions apply. See store for details.
Go to get your game on at the Gallery Bar Booking Games in Ocean Casino Resort this football season. Cheers your favorite drinks while cheering on your favorite team. Get in on the parlay while in the middle of a party. Go for the sports scene and go for the endless screens. Go to the gallery. Go to Ocean. Go for the win. For more information, visit theoceanac.com. Must be 21 or older to wager or consume alcohol. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
We're going abroad for the first time in years. To Spain. So we started using Babbel.
And started learning Spanish fast.
With Babbel, you can start having conversations in another language in just 3 weeks.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
In just 3 weeks, we're starting to have conversations in Spanish. Gracias, Babbel.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
The power's out at our house. Coffee table. But since my family has storm-ready Wi-Fi from Xfinity, they can stream and game like usual on all their devices all over the house. Oh, who moved the couch? So everybody stays connected while I just try to find a seat in the dark. Oh, cactus? Can I get a little help over here?
Yeah, bro. Just let me finish this boss battle.
Sure, go ahead. Medic!
Get fast, reliable Xfinity internet with storm-ready Wi-Fi so you can stay connected for up to 4 hours through power outages. Only from Xfinity. Plus, save up to $20 a month over Verizon. Go to Xfinity.com, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Restrictions apply. Storm-ready Wi-Fi limited to customers within range of 4G LTE cellular signal. Speeds reduced to 30/7 megabits per second. Actual speeds vary. Learn more at Xfinity.com/stormready. Savings compares Xfinity Gig to Verizon Fios Gig.
The U.S. dollar is under attack, and it's becoming less and less valuable by the day. Hyperinflation and speculation is killing your retirement. Don't leave your money sitting in cash. It's time you diversified and protected your future with physical precious metals. Call Advantage Gold at 800-900-8000 and get your free digital dollar survival kit and learn how you could get up to $1,000 in free silver today. Call Advantage Gold now at 800-900-8000 to get your free digital dollar survival kit, and you may qualify for $1,000 in free silver. Advantage Gold is the #1 rated gold and silver company in America. Your future is precious. Protect it today when you call Advantage Gold. Call 800-900-8000 now.
Advantage Gold is not an investment advisor or a tax advisor. Check with your financial advisor before investing.
That's 800-900-8000.
97.3 ESPN has teamed up with Seize the Deal for incredible weekly offers from some fantastic local restaurants. Here's this week's big deal. Get a $50 gift card, good for Yori's Waterfront Restaurant in Wildwood, New Jersey for just $25. This great deal is on sale now at seizethedeal.com. Hurry, this deal will sell quickly. For more information on this great deal, go to seizethedeal.com. That's seizethedeal.com.
Seizethedeal.com.
Now, more Game Night with Josh Hennig on 97.3 ESPN and the free mobile app.
Josh Hennig here on 97.3 ESPN 649 on Football Friday. All right, I got a bunch of texts to get to before we get to my Football Friday picks. So let's knock them out here. First of all, the most passionate baseball fan in the listening audience apparently is Diamondback fan Derek. He wanted to jump on and say it was unbelievable game by Zach Gallen through biggest time of his career last night. All I got to say is go Diamondbacks. Plus, now I can watch the Phillies trade Turner restart that 15-game hitting streak. That's from Diamondback Derek. Listen, I got to give Derek a lot of credit. This dude has been going back and forth with me for about 2 weeks now about the Phillies and the Diamondbacks. So if nothing else, you got to respect it. I respect anyone that sticks with an ongoing baseball conversation for that long. Like Derek is showing up to more games than JT Realmuto has started a catcher this year. Like that's how consistent this guy has been. So shout out to Diamondbacks fan Derek. Steven Ventnor, by the way, followed up back up on the Eagles and the Patriots at 609-403-0973. He says, I think the Patriots will try to find mismatches with their tight ends. I don't think we've talked enough about that, Steven Ventnor. You know, they got Mike Gesicki and Hunter Henry. And somebody was trying to tell me the other day that, oh, the Patriots tight ends are average. And I'm like, Hunter Henry had a season with 9 receiving touchdowns And Mike Gesicki basically was averaging for a 4-year period 5 touchdown catches of the year. That's not an average NFL tight end to me. You saw average NFL tight ends in last night's Chiefs game. Blake Bell, Noah Gray, what's his name? Watson, right? Those are average NFL tight ends. Mike Gesicki is arguably one of the 5 best athletes who plays tight end in the NFL. And Hunter Henry at one point was supposed to be the heir apparent to Antonio Gates. Those guys could be a key part of the game. And if the Patriots believe that they can get Gesicki and Hunter Henry in some unfavorable matchups, right? Terrell Edmonds, Zach Cunningham, the less athletic guys on the Eagles defense who might be in coverage, it might be an opportunity for the Patriots to convert some third downs, chew up some more clock, play keep away from Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense. Paul in Ocean City chimes in at 609-403-0973. 0973, easy for me to say. It says, Josh, one other factor will be Matt Patricia is now the Eagles coach. He could provide some unique insights on the Patriots. I really feel the Eagles should win by at least 14. Go Birds! That's from Paul in Ocean City. Paul, I don't know if they'll win by 14. I just think that something's got to go really wrong for the Patriots for that game to get that carried away. I do think the Eagles cover the spread. Okay, the last thing I saw, I believe the Eagles were 4.5 was the spread. I'll double check right now. Okay, right now it's 4, so it's been chopped down to 4. I tend to think the Eagles win by a touchdown. I don't think it's going to be a hyper close game at the end. I think it'll be closer at the beginning than the end. But you're right. Maybe Patricia can give some unique insights into Bell, because Patricia was under Belichick for years in the defensive coaching room. So maybe there is something, it might be a small item, a small tidbit, a small morsel of information that can make a difference for guys like Sirianni and Brian Johnson, the offensive coordinator. Maybe there is something about, hey, Belichick loves to line this guy up in the slot when he wants to blitz, right? Or, hey, when you see the safety creep down, it's actually a sign they're going to run a cover 3 instead of a cover 1 or something like that. Maybe, and it might be the difference between a touchdown or not in the game. So it's a good point by you, Paul in Ocean City. Jeff at Summers Point chimes in on the text board, says it's happy hour Friday. He sent me a picture. He's drinking Coors Light and Fireballs on his porches, Jeff in Summers Point. He says Eagles 28, Patriots 7. They're cheaters. Fly, Eagles, fly. That's from Jeff in Summers Point. Jeff, I don't think the Patriots are going to only score 7 points. I just don't think that I just don't think Belichick is going to. It would be different if this was week 4. But it's like, coaches who have time to prepare are usually in a position to put their team in a position to be successful. Andy Reid didn't have his best defensive player and without his best offensive weapon last night, and he lost the game by 1 point. And it was in part because Kadarius Toney's got butterfingers. So, I just think that Belichick is going to find a way to keep this game close. That's all. That's how I look at it. Although I do think it's funny that you said that the Eagles should invite Nick Foles to the game because it's Tom Brady night for the Patriots. That is funny. That's a good one by you. Steve at KB Courthouse chimes in. He says, it's any given Sunday. Coach Bill against the Eagles coaching staff could be a little intimidating, especially with all the time Bill and his Patriots have had to prepare. But in this case, I think talent prevails. I think Eagles will win 41-17, says Steve at KB Courthouse. Happy Football Friday to you, Josh. He says, what are your ideas on shutting down Matthew Judon? He's a beast. How do we stop him? Thanks again, Steve from Cape May Courthouse. Go Birds. I think the key to stopping Judon is chipping. I think it's that simple. I think that if he lines up on the side against Mailata, send the running back or tight end to get in his way. Slow him down. Let Mailata get his feet set. If he's on the right side against Lane Johnson, let Lane do his thing. Lane Johnson is not allowed a sack. since 2020 to Myles Garrett. And Myles Garrett might be one of the 5 best pass rushers on planet Earth. So to me, I think the way to slow him down is send somebody to chip him, send somebody to run interference a little bit. I think that's the way to slow down a beast like that, because the Patriots love to move Judon up and down the line. So you can't always guarantee he's going to be on one side or the other. All right, let's get some picks in here. We're 9-4 on the college football picks so far this year, and we're 1-2 on the NFL picks. So let's see what we can do to improve those numbers. So I gave a couple of these picks earlier in the 6-pack on the Sports Bash with Mike Gill. I said take the over on Notre Dame versus NC State. Notre Dame has got Sam Hartman, and Sam Hartman versus Brendan Armstrong for NC State. I think there's going to be a bunch of points scored. Give me the over 50.5. I also like the over on the 40.5 for Syracuse. Western Michigan is just not a very good football team. I think they score a lot of points. I expect LaQuint Allen to get at least 1 touchdown in that game. Also, Texas State, they're plus 14 against UTSA. UTSA just lost to Houston last week. I like Texas State to cover that, especially if they beat Baylor the week before. And of course, here is my
Stone Cold Lock of the Century. Or the week.
Utah minus 7.5 at Baylor. Baylor just lost to Texas State, as I just mentioned. And Utah just beat up on Florida. I mean, this is the ultimate Billy Schwein, big guy beat up on little guy scenario here. So give me Utah to cover that 7.5 against Baylor. Baylor's just not a good football team. I do disagree with Mike Gill. Give me the under in Colorado versus Nebraska. I think Nebraska's offense, they had 2 turnovers in the red zone last week against Minnesota. I just don't think they have the firepower to keep up in a shootout eventually that will be against Colorado. And I think Matt Rule will have seen some tape against Deion Sanders, Shedeur Sanders, Travis Hunter. He'll slow down the offense. He won't stop them altogether, but he'll slow it down. Give me the under 58.5. In the NFL, give me the Jags to cover the 4.5. Give me the under 41.5 in San Francisco versus Pittsburgh. Ravens covering the 9.5. And in the Dolphins and Chargers, we're going to go over 51. Tua versus Herbert. What's that going to be, 35-30? I'm Josh Hennig. This is Game Night. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Saturday morning in the locker room with Billy Schwein, former Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver Dave Klemick joins me in the studio. It's opening weekend for the NFL, and to start things off, we'll talk with legendary Eagles radio broadcaster Merrill Reese about the Birds. Hour 2 every Saturday, we chat with the sportsbook consigliere Dave Sherapan from Las Vegas. Dave enlightens us on this weekend's betting trends. Billy's talking more. It's the locker room with Billy Schwein, Saturday morning from 10 a.m. to noon on 97.3 ESPN.
That's Mike saying good morning. It's the best he can do right now. Yeah, not a cloud in the sky. What Mike could use is a fresh start.